All right, gather round, folks. Pull up a chair, lean in close, and forget absolutely everything you thought you knew about American history. You've heard the stories, right? Plymouth Rock, the Founding Fathers, the Civil War, the March to the Pacific, all true, all vital, etched into our national consciousness. But what if I told you there's a secret history, a vast, strange, and frankly astonishing chapter that's been tucked away, gathering dust in the musty attics of our national memory, hidden under layers of uncomfortable truth? I'm talking about a time when America didn't just expand westward. Oh no, I'm talking about a time right in the thick of our young republic's most fraught years, when a powerful cabal of the nation's elite, we're talking slave owners, radical abolitionists, sitting presidents, and Supreme Court justices, conspired to create a brand new country, an entire nation, on a distant, dangerous coast in Africa. Doesn't that sound like the opening to a thrilling, improbable movie? Like something ripped from a historical fiction novel so wild you'd never believe it? Well, here's the kicker. It's not. It's absolutely true. And it is, without a doubt, one of the most astonishing, well-documented, and secretly bizarre chapters in the history of the United States. This is the story of a place called Liberia, and the unlikely, often horrifying, journey of thousands of American citizens, free black men and women, and emancipated slaves who were sent there, not by a formal government decree, but by a powerful private society, born from a confluence of idealism, fear, and profound prejudice. This is the kind of history that sounds dry and academic when a professor mumbles about the repatriation movement. But when you look at the human cost, the sheer madness of the logistics, and the dizzying array of moral contradictions at its heart, it becomes a story of ghost fleets, impossible ideals, and a republic born of paradox. So, settle in, because I am about to tell you about the wildest American experiment you've never fully heard. To really grasp the full scope of this ghost fleet and the incredible journey it represents, you have to understand the very air we were breathing in the decades immediately following the American Revolution. Think about it. Between 1800 and, say, 1830, we had just proudly declared to the world that all men are created equal, a truly soaring, breathtaking ideal, a beacon of liberty. But then you'd look around, and what would you see? 1 in 5 Americans was enslaved. That's right, 1 in 5. This wasn't just a problem. It was a moral, political, and economic contradiction so vast, so fundamental, that it threatened to tear the country apart from day one. It was the original sin of the nation, and the men who ran the country, the ones wrestling with this monumental issue, simply didn't have a good, unified answer. You had some the radical abolitionists, bless their hearts, who cried out, "Emancipate them all, treat them as full citizens, with every right and privilege." A clear, unambiguous stance. Then, on the other end of the spectrum, you had the slave owners, who, predictably, declared, "No, our entire economy depends on them, and anyway, they're not fit for society here." A brutal, self-serving argument that justified unimaginable cruelty. But then, there was a third, incredibly powerful, and utterly strange group. These were people who genuinely hated slavery. They were appalled by its existence, but they were absolutely terrified of the consequences of mass emancipation. They looked at the hundreds of thousands of free black people already living in the North and South, people who had achieved their freedom through various means. They worried deeply. They saw segregated cities. They saw racial violence. They saw economic competition for low-wage jobs, and they concluded, with a shocking cynicism, that a truly integrated, equal society is impossible in America. Can you imagine? After all the talk of equality and liberty, these were men often with the best, if profoundly misguided intentions, who believed that black Americans would never be safe, never be truly free, and never be truly equal on American soil, not in the United States of America. Their solution: to create a safe haven for them, to export the problem, to literally build a new America, thousands of miles away, across a vast ocean. It sounds unbelievable, doesn't it? But it's precisely what they set out to do. Now, fast forward to the year 1816. The place is Washington, D.C. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine the scene. A dark, mahogany-paneled room. The fire is crackling in the hearth, casting dancing shadows. The air is thick, heavy with cigar smoke and the distinct scent of fear, ambition, and a certain kind of desperate idealism. Who is sitting around that table? This isn't some fringe group meeting in a dusty back alley. Oh no, this is the absolute elite. At the head of that table is Henry Clay, the incredibly powerful Speaker of the House from Kentucky. He's a slave owner himself, a man who would later try to save the Union through a series of famous compromises. He's the chairman of this gathering. Next to him sits Bushrod Washington, none other than the nephew of George Washington, a sitting Supreme Court justice, and, yes, another prominent slave owner. You've got Francis Scott Key, the very man who wrote the Star-Spangled Banner, our national anthem, and that's just a few. You've got senators, congressmen, future presidents like James Monroe and Andrew Jackson, and powerful religious leaders from across the denominations. These influential men, this astounding collection of national figures, came together and formed a society, the American Society for Colonizing the Free People of Color of the United States, or, more simply, the ACS. Their goal was audacious, simple, yet gargantuan in its implications. They wanted to raise money by land in West Africa, and then transport every single free black person and every emancipated slave who wished to go and make it in the minds of some who could be very strongly convinced to go to this new land, this new nation. And here is the first major shocker, the absolute mind-bending detail that often gets lost in the history books for modern audiences. This was some niche, fringe movement operating in the shadows. This initiative was directly supported by the federal government. Can you believe it? In 1819, Congress actually appropriated a staggering $100,000 for this project. That was a truly massive sum at the time, equivalent to tens of millions today. They framed it as a humanitarian effort to halt the illegal slave trade, which was still rampant despite being officially outlawed. But make no mistake, the ACS, a private organization, was essentially carrying out a quasi-governmental foreign policy, using taxpayer money to achieve its goals. And the irony, oh, the biting irony of it all. The very people who wanted to get rid of black Americans, the ones who feared them, who saw them as a threat to the established order, and the people who genuinely wanted to see them free, truly free, came together in this single, impossible project. The slave owners desired to remove the unsettling sight of free black people, who might inspire their own enslaved population to revolt or flee. The anti-slavery idealists, for their part, genuinely believed this colonization was the only viable path to true liberty and dignity for black Americans, believing they could never achieve it in a deeply racist white America. It was a perfect, tragic confluence of self-interest and idealism tangled together in a way that's almost impossible to untangle even today. This is history that makes you stop and think, isn't it? It challenges everything we learn in elementary school, everything we imagine about the heroes and villains of our past. It forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about the complexities of human motivation and the birth of a nation. But it's a story that absolutely needs to be told in all its strange, messy, and impactful detail. So, stick around as we delve deeper into this incredible tale. We'll explore the first perilous journeys across the Atlantic, the challenges of founding a new nation in a foreign land, and the legacy this audacious experiment left on both America and Liberia. This isn't just history. It's a profound look into the soul of a young nation grappling with its own contradictions. Don't forget to hit that like button if you're finding this intriguing, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more hidden histories like this. We're uncovering the untold stories, one shocking revelation at a time. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.